Okay, so again, this overhead rate is based on estimates. And basically how you do this is from historical data. You might look at last year's and then adjust going forward. You know, an example would be you think your insurance is going to go up 2%. And, maybe the cost of certain things are going down or up, and maybe you expect growth of sales of 8%. So you're going to factor that in to get your estimate. And the actual results will rarely, if ever, match your estimates. And so at the end of the period, like the year or the quarter, you're going to adjust. And what will happen is you will either have underapplied your estimate or overapplied it. And then you'll have to adjust that in the cost of goods sold at the end of the period. So let's look at that. So your overhead is overapplied here, actual overhead costs incurred, and then overhead applied to work in process, so it's some rate times some activity, because it's going to be measured like on a project, like you expect your total cost, let's say on an hourly rate, to be 150% of your hourly rate. And so you're going to do that, but what to come in at 148% as an example. And then if you and so overhead, if you underapplied it, then of course you've underapplied, you have to adjust it. So in either case, you're going to have to adjust, which will be a debit or credit entry on here. And so actual overhead is applied, and if it's underapplied, then its cost of goods is too low, and you have to increase it or you have to decrease it. That's all they're saying in this. I'm going to skip the global view here. And so pricing of services, as an example, here is based on direct labor or incidental. Maybe the material costs are incidental. And so, but in other jobs, it might be based on the amount of material. So again, it will vary according to company and what they're going to use as an overhead rate multiplier, as an example. More often than not, it is labor, but it does not have to be. And here they're just giving you examples. They're just multiplying it out to get the number, but the multiplier is labor. So again, your entries, you're just taking raw materials, right, from your accounts material, and you're moving it into goods in process, raw materials inventory. Same with your factory overhead and your factory payroll. And here their rate is 160% of direct labor. That's how they're getting the factory overhead number, because they didn't know until the end of the period. And so that's going to be your multiplier here. This is the activity, that's your multiplier, and then that's the rate. And that should be it. That will be all for this chapter, and we'll start with process accounting, which is sort of like considered to be batch accounting.